feel like people who are awakening experience some weird shit. What weird things have you experienced? Really? I spent a year asking myself, am I just crazy or is this really happening? People talk about the ascension sickness and the spiritual side. They'll even discuss the negative spiritual side. Is it just me? Or are people so afraid of being called crazy that we can't discuss the magical, weird side of awakening? Seemingly magical. It's not necessarily that it is magical. It just seems magical. Or is magical. Whatever. Way back in the beginning for me, I listened to someone discuss, this was a medical doctor, by the way, someone discussed seeing ghosts as his sign he was ascending. Like, he didn't understand why he was seeing ghosts. I heard other people also discuss seeing these dark entities, you know, and sometimes you'll see these little videos where they make like cartoons where you see these blobs, these black blobs just kind of walking around, you know, because they're ascending. This was a cue for me to learn more and to not run to someone who will give me meds. I don't like to silence what I don't. I don't like to silence what I don't care about just because it's weird or outside the normal range of experiences. Then I learned about vibrational frequency. I learned way more than I actually comprehend about quantum physics. Like, really, I have a surface level. I am not the person to be teaching you quantum physics. I am just trying to understand it. I even learned a new term yesterday from a physicist, the general resonance theory of consciousness, and I listened to some videos about it today, and it's interesting, but the videos are they're made for an academic audience, and it is really frustrating because I can tell it's incredibly interesting. But my God, could you talk about it in a way that is any less for a general audience? So it has to do with consciousness and where we resonate vibrationally. This is, again, like, not at all like the scientists were discussing, okay? Go look it up. Because we are all waves of light. And to the uninitiated, it sounds bonkers. And the idea that we're all connected together consciously is the morphic field of resonance. So have you ever had a really cool idea, but you don't act on it, and a year later or two, someone else publishes your idea or starts talking about your idea? So now, and that totally goes against the video, by the way, because video was talking about like a local consciousness resonating. And I think, in my opinion, Earth is the local consciousness, that we're all sharing these ideas, because I've had an idea and someone who's a scientist who's like lives on the other side of the planet or something, they'll share it like a year later and publish it. And I'm not saying that I struggled in school, okay? I'm just saying that ideas travel, and whoever picks up the idea and does something with it and publishes first, you know, how many times have you seen people who create something and it's just a matter of publishing the information first? If you get to it a day ahead, you're the person who invented it, even if you both figured it out on the same day. Even if you both figured it out on the same day, the person who published the information first is the one that gets the prize. So what I suggest, and that what I'm saying is that it's coming out of the same consciousness. You're getting the ideas from the muse, as we would call it, from the resonance, from the field of consciousness around us that we're all in. What I suggest is we recently split. So this is just an idea. Okay, my suggestion is that perhaps recently we split to separate fields of resonance, like different channels. So, you know, if for different people who are too far apart vibrationally. So like, instead of all humans being on the same frequency and everybody being able to access the same consciousness, there are some people who are up here and some people who are down here, like just different channels. One channel isn't better than the other. It's just these people up here are going to be getting access to different information than these people down here, because maybe these people here are in a different place informationally, like what they can handle vibrationally, whatever. So it's not a moral quandary, it's a health concern. Because, okay, this is from my own personal experience. If you resonate with a frequency too high, you'll get sick from exposure. Kind of like standing in a microwave. And that's not the exact example. It's just everybody's going to understand that if you were standing in microwaves, that your shit would be messed up. Like, it's not exactly the same thing. But if you were to stand in vibrations that are too far outside the norm for you, that you would have health problems as a result. You would get sick. And when I say that comes from personal experience, I mean it. I started meditating like all the time because it felt so good. It was such a good feeling. Oh my God, it was amazing. All of a sudden I was so happy. And like, it really is like pure joy, pure bliss. Your wedding day times 10, your firstborn times 10. It's just all of those things combined. And it just is like the happiest fucking feeling ever when you are channeling this pure light. For me, it's gold light. I channel gold light. Heard a psychic, one of the newer episodes of that soul show on YouTube. I can't remember. Anyway, this psychic was on there, and she was talking about how she laughs every time she channels, that after the channel is over, she'll just have this great big belly laughter a lot of the time. And it's because the feeling of being in so much joy affects her to the degree that when they leave, her body is just so happy from experiencing that joy that she just barrel laughs. Like she just, from the belly, just, oh my God, so much joy, right? And that is what this is like for me too. Like when I'm in that place, I will have this biggest, stupidest shit eating grin. Like it is so beautiful of a feeling. When I first started, channeling the gold light, I didn't do it very often, so it was fine. But when I started doing it like all the time, like, oh, it's the morning, I can do this before I wake up, or oh, you know what, I'm home from work, I think I'll channel the gold light, and I started spreading it out like to the whole world. Like I would try to spread the gold light everywhere, with people's permission. Like that's a whole different story. Anyway, whatever. So you send up the gold light. But the thing is that that's a really high level of frequency that was going through me, and I got super, super sick. And everybody's like, oh, maybe it's because of this, maybe it's because of that. And even because I wasn't ready to admit anything yet, right? But I got like the flu. I got this weird gastrointestinal thing that was awful. That was the worst of all of them. I got COVID. I got pertussis. I had a cold. I was just like nonstop sick. I would be like sick and off of work for a week, and then I would be fine for a week, and then I'd get sick again and be off of work again, and then I'd be fine for a week, and then finally I get to pertussis, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm wearing a mask and I'm going to work because I don't have any more sick days, you know, just like because I was just getting sick, but I kept meditating anyway. I just kept doing it, and once I stopped, like the next day after I stopped, I went for 24 hours without meditating because I was like, well, I think I might be getting sick because of meditation, like because of this channeling the gold light thing. And then I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. It stopped. I felt better and I was fine. And I haven't been sick like that since. And I'm not saying I won't get sick. Everybody gets sick at some point. But what I'm saying is that that I didn't get sick like that. I don't know why I'm losing my voice. I think it's just allergy season. So I ended up going a month without meditating. And then I couldn't handle it anymore. I was so depressed because I thought I would never be able to meditate on the gold light again, ever. And I was so upset thinking that I had to choose between being like deathly ill and being that happy again. And then I waited a month and I couldn't handle it anymore. And I was like, fuck it, I'll go out happy, whatever, I don't care. And I started meditating. And at that point, I was fine. I was perfectly fine. Like, I think that my body just needed some time to adjust. And in fact, I had a friend of mine I talked to who is an oracle, and she was telling me that that's what she thought it was. That it was probably that the frequency was just too high for me vibrationally, and it affected my body, and I needed some time to adjust to it. Then once my body adjusted to it, then I could go ahead and I could vibrate with it more easily, so I didn't get sick. But imagine if you have all these people, because the awakening is happening everywhere. We're all awakening. Like, there's so many people who are awakening, right? So imagine if all these people up here were vibrating, and we're just dragging all of these people up, like we're hitting them with all of our vibrations, like our high vibes. It's like let's say you're resonating super high, and we all like already understand that there's this toroidal field like around us, like we're able to affect. We're part of this consciousness wave, right? So we're able to affect the people around us. My God. So imagine if we were all like still here, how those frequencies would be affecting all the people who are not awakening. If you're not on an awakening journey yet, like, I'm not saying that you won't get there. I'm saying that if you're not there, and it got me that sick, in and out of the hospital, like in and out of the ER, going to the clinic constantly, in and out of work constantly. Imagine if we were all sitting there like unaware completely of what our vibrations were doing to the people around us, and people would just be dropping like flies, right? So different frequencies literally experience subtle differences in their senses. This is how it is. Like, if you are raising your vibration, when you say you're raising your vibrations, you're literally raising your vibrations. So as you ascend, it's not to a different plane of existence. You're still on the same planet with everybody else. And I'm not saying there might be some other circumstances, because I've heard the stories about people who reach enlightenment and then they just disappear. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as you are raising your vibration. You're still here on Earth, walking around all the other humans. You can just experience different sensations, like seeing beings or vibrating on different planes of existence. Furthermore, different beings who are vibrating on different planes of existence. So, and if you want, I can show you some examples of beings that we already knew about. In fact, I can think of one, the Santilli telescope. I think that's how you pronounce it. This Italian guy. He created this telescope that no one talks about anymore, and it drives me crazy because literally he was recording these beings. And this was in the early 2000s, and he's got these videos of these plasma beings, I guess, and you can hardly find anything about the telescope. You can't find the I used to be able to find a couple for sale. They were always way out of my price range, but now you just can't even find them anymore. They're just like, that guy never existed, even though he's still alive. Anyway, furthermore, I've heard the suggestion that DMT beings are some of these entities, and you're using the drug to vibrate your consciousness to make them visible for a short time to you, to yourself, to your body, this person that you are in. For that matter, people have seen cherubim and seraphim under the influence of psychedelics also, with, you know, with the eyes and the rings and all of the wings, like the crazy things that people will see. They're talking about angels, y'all. For me, the weird things that I see are the gods. I mean, it's a lot more than that, but specifically it's the gods. And that's also something that's really common when you meditate a lot. The gods just show up. And I can also find examples of that where people start experiencing gods in their meditations. It's kind of a trope. Anyway, I spent several months looking into it, and that is something that happens when you meditate a lot. Gods will just show up. And psychology says they're examples of human archetypes, and that's cool, except I don't usually know who they are until I look them up later. So I look at how they're dressed, what they're doing, what are they carrying, what tools, I don't know why I misprinted a word, and emotions. They're all distinct emotionally. Every time I find a god that is on the level of whoever has been showing up, they have like a different emotional vibration. Like, it's always higher, but it's like different personalities, y'all. So I had one that I had been working with, like, who had been showing up all of a sudden, and I couldn't place her. In fact, I had been working with Egyptian gods a lot. It had been a solid year of just all these Egyptian gods showing up, one after another, one after another. Like, one in the very beginning, she didn't really show up, but she was Canaanite, but whatever. Anyway, so, but this god that I had seen, she was dressed like a Greek goddess, but was very warlike. And she has silver bindings around her garments, and she'd wield the gold light, because that's what I channel, is gold light, like a weapon to push out corruption. So she was basically just trying to get corruption out. And actually, this isn't the video I was meant to be making, because there's another TikToker on here who sent me a message telling me I was going to respond to her via video. But anyway, Artemis is a guide for me. So she's the one who told me it was Artemis. And that was it. I looked her up, and that's exactly who had been showing up. And it was so cool because she gives me physical confirmation. Like, I'll have my earbuds in, and they will crackle. Like, if I have this image of her, like, spreading the light around, and she pushes the light directly at me, my earbuds sometimes just stop working. Like, because I'm usually listening to, like, epic music, because the epic music helps me visualize. It's just something I do. I'm not saying I do it every time, but it's just helpful. And so anytime she would push the gold light directly in my direction, like, my earbuds just, and they stop working. It's so weird, because if it was just something that was in my mind, why is it every single time that happens, my earbuds stop working? Or, like, I can stand under these power lines. I'll go hiking. I'll stand under these power lines, and she'll be blowing the gold light towards the power lines, and you can hear, because they're really big power lines, so you can hear the sounds, but you'll hear the sounds going in the direction along the power lines that she's pushing the gold light out. It's really cool. Anyway, so she said Gaia is my matriarch, which I know to my core to be true, because, oh my goodness, I love Gaia so much. And she said Pan is my patriarch, which I find hilarious, but also makes sense. Like, literally, this is hanging on my car. So yeah, Pan is my patriarch. That makes sense. But even, which is funny, because again, I thought it was all the Egyptian gods. Like, I just thought it was the Egyptian gods. So the idea is, at least this is my understanding now. I'm a student, okay? Just keep in mind, for all this stuff I could come back later and be like, yeah, I was totally wrong about all this. Okay? So the idea is, at least in Buddhism, is to go beyond the gods to the void, to become this is the part I'm not sure about, to become the co-creator, which I think we're already co-creators. So I'm not really, or that's what I gather. So that's how you reach your divinity, I think. So don't quote me on that. I'm a student, and I grew up Catholic, so this is way far removed from my personal experience. This is all new to me. So my interpretation is, this is my interpretation. I tapped into the vibration. Oh yeah. So who do I think the gods are? I think what I did was I tapped into higher consciousness. And I've been learning from beings that vibrate on a literal higher frequency. I guess that means I talk to the gods, y'all. So they aren't the creator or source. They aren't like God with a capital G, but gods with a lowercase g, like, you know, beings. They might have created this reality, but not everything. Like, I'm not saying that they created this reality. I heard some people suggest that they might have created this reality, but, you know, whatever. I think that's just like one of those stories. Anyway, and the reason I say they might have created this reality is if you resonate high enough, it's thought you become or are a co-creator of the reality you're in. So that's kind of what manifestation is. It's like hacking the matrix. We resonate too low, and the challenge is to regain your divinity so you regain control. Now, I say kind of, because I'm thinking of all the people who resonate on a lower frequency, which can manifest. And I have ideas on that, but this is getting really long. So some of us chose to come back to teach those around us how to do it. Some of them and certain, like again in Buddhism, I think they're reincarnated bodhisattvas, which is a whole thing. I haven't looked too much into it, but it's really interesting that I can find so far. Basically enlightened ones that just decide to come back to keep teaching us so that more of us can become bodhisattvas and then come back and do it again, which is really cool. But that means that they have to start all over without any memory of what they are, which would suck. But the fear isn't that I'll be wrong. It's my fear of all of you. The perception, so the reason why we don't share the weird and the crazy stuff, the perception of sharing and having it go so terribly wrong is the fear we all have. But what I really decided as I'm thinking about this is, I am that I am. And that's all there is. So it doesn't really matter. Like, think what you want to think. It doesn't matter. All right. See ya. This is just an aside for, the reason why I decided to post this today is because of a synchronicity I had at exactly 10:20 tonight while I was, working, and I work in a school. So, I was listening to my music, and the song came on I'd never heard before, and the name of it was really epic, and so I was like, I gotta figure out what the name of this one is, and I gotta stick it in my playlist. Well, it was called Resonance. And literally 15 minutes before that point, because I had just gotten back from break, and before break I was listening to, breaks are 15 minutes long, so I had been listening to that resonance theory of consciousness video, and so I get back and I listen and I hear, I was like, I gotta put this song on my playlist, and the name of the song is Resonance. And then I look over to my left on the other side, I'm like, whoa, that's a huge synchronicity right there, right? And then I look over to my right, and on my right there's a sticker on the teacher's desk, and it's a picture of a brain, and the brain is in rainbow colors, and above it says, I'm everywhere, and the exclamation point has like a little heart underneath it. And I'm just like, oh my freaking god, like that is literally what the resonance theory of consciousness is, like all right there in 2 seconds. And so I took that to me. I had been looking for a sign that it would be like, fucking fine, just stop worrying about stupid shit and just put your shit online instead of being constantly fucking freaked out that everybody's gonna come at you. Nobody fucking cares. So that was my sign to me to just post this story today. And I know it's in parts because nobody can handle a thing over like 5 minutes, and I talk a lot. So yeah, that is why I chose to post this today, is because of that synchronicity that I had earlier. All right, bye.